the high school game of the week here on Southwestern Cable. Tonight's game, a playoff game, a 2A or small school playoff game featuring the University High Dons, the #2 team from the Western League, against the #1 team from the Central League, the #1 seeded team in the high school 2A playoffs, the Crawford Colts. Hello, everybody. I'm Ed Larkin. With me in the booth tonight will be Rick Lakin doing the color commentary, and, of course, Thomas McCormick, our spotter, as always. And, Rick, this figures to be a good contest. Crawford, one of the top defensive teams in the county, and University has been able to put some points on the board.
According to Chris Mitchell, Crawford comes in. He's here in his 5th year, and Crawford comes in with the 4th best defense, as you said, 7.4 points allowed per game. But the key to the Crawford team is that it's a no-name team. There aren't any particular ball players that stand out in the county, but they work as a team together, and their team statistics are great. University comes in with a 5-5 record, and their defense has allowed almost as many points as they've scored.
Well, the key tonight, as you look at the two teams, of course, Crawford with a great defense, but they have an explosive offense. In their last 5 games, they have been averaging 31 points per game. Of course, they won all 5. University, on the other hand, they had to win their last 2 games of their league season just to qualify for the playoffs, as they beat Claremont and then La Jolla. We're going to have the national anthem here in just a moment, and then our kickoff as the two teams are coming out on the field now. So as we get ready for tonight's ball game, let's take a time out. You're watching high school football on your Southwestern Cable connection. Okay, the University Dons have won the toss. They have elected to receive in tonight's ball game. And the kicking unit out on the field for Crawford. Number 77, Ken Tan, will be doing the kicking for Crawford. And back deep for University, number 1, Kevin Gashu. As we mentioned, Crawford 7-1-1 on the season. They have won their last 5 ball games.
University. And the officials for tonight, the umpire, Mr. Bob Weisham. The head linesman is Bill Godshall. Field judge Fred Mitchell, and the 5th official tonight, the back judge Gary Gerwig. And all 4 officials are working for the man in the white hat, referee Al Thomason.
Something a little unusual in playoff opponents. They have 5 common opponents on the year. Crawford is 4-0-1 against those common opponents. University is 2-3. And Ken Tan approaches the football, and we are underway here from Patrick Henry High School. It is taken by Gashu at the 10. Cuts to his left, gets up over the 25 before he is finally brought down. And number 23, Damian Cormier, is one of the men in on the stop.
15-yard return on that one, and University will start out.
Matt Smith, number 10, will open at quarterback. The running backs, number 32, James Wilson, number 33, Martin Correa. Also in the ball game, number 35, Greg Vigilante. They line up in a double wing formation with the single setback. Man in motion now, and they give it to the man straight up the middle. That is number 33, Correa. He gets perhaps a yard up over the 25 to the 26. Michael Campbell is the man in on the stop for Crawford. University will want to run the football. That's how they have moved it the best throughout the year. And, of course, the ball control will be a big key for them as this game goes on. They credit him with a gain of a couple. It'll be 2nd and 8. And Smith keeps the ball himself and is going to be sacked back in the backfield for a loss. And Crawford is indicating the ball is loose. Let's wait. It is loose, and Crawford has recovered the fumble. David Robin, number 75, is one of the men, and Ken Tan, number 77, the men coming up off the bottom that time. And with little over a minute gone in the ball game, we have our first turnover.
There's the Crawford defense that only allowed 7.4 points a game, and they get the first big break of the game, and in playoffs, the name of the game is the breaks.
So Crawford will take over 1st and 10. at University's 27-yard line. Fagerang at quarterback pitches back to the rear back, and he gets perhaps a yard or so down close to the 25. That was number 33, Kevin Williams, the running back on that play. Crawford likes to run in quite a few different receivers and running backs. Among others, you'll see Myron Williams. You'll see Troy Purdy in the backfield, as you do right now. And split out to this side is number 82, Darrell Wesley. Fagerang takes the snap on the option to this side. He turns it up inside the 20. Number 1, Kevin Gashu, was one of the men in on the stop that time.
And I wouldn't say that was an option. It looked like he was running all the way into the left tackle because he didn't go wide enough for the option.
Well, one thing we noticed about Mr. Fagerang in the last time we covered him, and that is he's extremely quick, very mobile, and he's one of the keys to Crawford's offense. He's rolling to his left to throw, has time, it is complete in the flat, a good move inside the 10, down to the 5. That is number 24, Troy Purdy, the man that caught that pass. He has got a first down, and it is now first down and goal for the Crawford Colts.
Credit Purdy 5 yards on the catch, and that was Fagerang, but excellent running ability after the catch. He made 2 excellent cuts to get the next 10 yards on that catch.
So it is first and goal from the 4-yard line. Troy Williams is the deep back, Kevin Williams. Dwight Brown, number 21, in front of him. They give it to Williams over the right side. He gets down close to the 1. Number 85, Bucket Gonzalez, one of the men in on the stop, along with Eric Coleman.
Scott Gochenour and Patrick McGriff were the right guard and right tackle on that play, of an excellent hole by the Crawford offensive line.
They give him a gain of 1. It'll be second and goal from the 3. Again, straight up the middle to Williams. Touchdown, Crawford. Kevin Williams, from 3 yards out, goes straight up the middle, and with 8:17 remaining here in the first period, Crawford has gone on top first.
Again, the block goes straight up by Scott Gochenour, and then it's opened by Patrick McGriff for the score.
Okay, we've got a whistle now before we can attempt the extra point. And I think, well, we're going to get an offsides call against University. And now Crawford, let's see if they might not decide to go for 2 points here. The offsides call will give them half the distance to the goal, so they'll go from the 3 to the 1.5, and they are going to bring in the offensive unit and go for 2 points. One of the nicest things about the high school game, in my opinion, Rick, is that they have this 2-point option. I think it adds a lot of excitement.
And I think it's a gutsy move at this point by Chris Miller.
Fagerang to throw in the end zone. It is incomplete, but we have penalty flags down.
It appeared a possible interference. It looked like number 11, Greg Champion, down there on the coverage that caused the interference.
The call is interference, and this will move the ball again half the distance to the goal. So from the 1.5 down to about the 3/4 mark here. They keep going this way, they'll score without running a play.
You have to get an awful lot of penalties to cut that half the distance across the goal line.
They do it to Williams over the left side, and the extra point conversion is good. Kevin Williams, why not go with what brought you there? So a timeout on the field now as Crawford has drawn first blood with the score 8-0. And you're watching high school football on your Southwestern Cable connection. Upman at the 15. He gets up to the 25 before he is brought down by several Crawford tacklers. And University will have it 1st and 10 at their own 26-yard line. So for the second time tonight, the University Dons will touch the football. The first time ended in a fumble, which led to the first score of the ball game, as we have a little under 8 minutes remaining here in the first period. Again, Smith brings him up, gives it again to that first back, Correa, through the middle. He high jumps over the 30 up to about the 33-yard line. They'll credit him with a gain of about 8 on that play, so it will be second down and 2.
Credit the tackle to Kevin Williams in on defense for Crawford.
This time number 80, that is Peter Hawes, goes split out to the far side. They give it to the second man, and he's got the first down. He's over the 35, up close to the 40-yard line. And that is number 32, the other half of that running combination, James Williams. To give you an idea this year, between the two of them, Wilson and Correa, they combined for almost 1,500 yards rushing. The really interesting statistic about that is that between them, they only got in the end zone 4 times, and that's an unusually low ratio when you're gaining that much on the ground.
A low-scoring ball club moves a lot between the 20s, but doesn't move in. But this is a high-scoring ball club.
The quick pitch went nowhere around the left side, and we're going to have a foul thrown on this side. A little shoving match going on between Greg Vigilante of University and number 61, Mark Hayes, for Crawford. And they're going to call the foul on Mark Hayes, as in the official parlance goes, they caught the second punch. This is a major penalty. Will move the ball all the way up to or just about at midfield.
Chris Miller before the game said aggressiveness and pursuit are the characteristics of the Crawford defense, and that might have been a mistake of aggressiveness. A university wants to establish themselves on the field. Crawford doesn't want to let them have anything.
So we have a first down and about a foot for University. Again, they give it to the first back this time, and I don't believe he made the first down. If he did, it would have been through second effort. Kevin Williams, number 33, is the man who spearheaded the line there, along with Michael Campbell for Crawford. And we may even have to have an official measurement on this one.
Mark Hayes and John Fine up there in the middle for Crawford on that tackle.
And believe it or not, they did not get the first down, so it'll be second down and perhaps the nose of the football. Number 7, Rene Acosta, comes split out to this side. They give it to the man in motion. That is Wilson. Wilson bowls his way over the left side into Crawford territory, and he's got a first down at the 46. Scott Gokenauer and Ken Pan, the men in on the stop that time for Crawford.
Tim Caracella and Mark Campillo were the pulling guards and got around ahead of the runner to make the blocks.
Interesting thing about James Wilson, Rick, he is 6'4". You don't see too many running backs who are 6'4". First and 10, the ball just at the nose of the 45. Smith to throw and overthrows his receiver down at the 35-yard line. That was number 80, Peter Haynes. And the man covering him was number 11, Myron Williams.
The advantage that gives Wilson, speaking of his height again, is makes him an excellent receiver coming out of the backfield, because he can catch passes around in front of the over the defensive lineman.
Well, it's a little unusual. You would think someone 6'4", they'd make a tight end rather than a running back, but they've got him at a wingback position where you could really be used both ways. Again, he goes in motion, and he gets the football over the left side, gets down inside the 45, down to the 43. Scott Gokenauer, the man that met him there. It'll be a gain of a couple, bringing up a third down play now for University as the clock ticks down with 5 minutes and 20 seconds remaining here in this first period.
Ed, you picture the ideal running back, and he's certainly not 6 feet 4 inches tall.
No,
you look at an Archie Griffin, won the Heisman twice. He's 5'7", 185.
Right, you want that low center of gravity. So third down and a long 8 as Smith goes back to throw. He's got time and is incomplete across the middle. It was batted down by Kevin Williams. And we've got a penalty flag at the line of scrimmage. The call is going to be holding against University. And now Crawford will have their decision to make. Do they take the play and make it 4th down, or do they give him 3rd down over again? They do decline the penalty, and the punting unit comes on. Number 85, Steve Price, drops deep for Crawford.
So here we see the Crawford defense taking advantage. University had the 15-yard penalty, and then University comes back with another penalty and to nullify it.
Matt Smith, the quarterback, will also do the punting. And he gets it away. It's a nice high kick. And it will go into the end zone and be down there. So the Crawford Colts now are going to get their second opportunity at the football, although it is not in quite the same field position as they got it the first time. They will take over 1st and 10 at their own 20. The last time we saw the Crawford Colts, they were on this same field playing Lincoln, and they defeated Lincoln 23-15. Really the only game in the last 5 that they have been pressed in. Fagerang takes the snap, gives it to the second back. A hole up the middle, to the 30, cuts back to this sideline, and there's only one man to stop him, and he's trying to ride him down, and finally does. Inside the 40-yard line of University, Kevin Williams, number 33.
Again, we see on the part of Crawford excellent athletes. Kevin Williams and Troy Purdy are both excellent athletes, and we saw pure running ability after he found that hole. Excellent running play by Kevin Williams.
A 43-yard gain that time for Kevin Williams. Number 11, Laurie Massey, was the man that brought him down. This time the running attack inside goes nowhere, as number 24, Troy Purdy, tried to slip over the left side and was stacked up there. In fact, they will lose about a half a yard on the play back to the 44, so it'll be 2nd and 11 now for Crawford. Okay. Fagerang takes the snap. Again, it is Purdy over the left side, and he's inside the 35, finally run out of bounds by number 5. That is Bert Whelan. They'll give him a gain of about 7, so it'll be 2nd down and 5. We are told now that Kevin Williams has 53 yards rushing already in this ball game, and we are not out of the first period yet.
4 carries for 53 yards. That's a little, almost 13 yards on each attempt, but most of that on that 43-yard carry.
Well, his average was 8.5 yards a carry coming into the game, and he gets the ball again, but this time he is shut down right at the line of scrimmage. Coming up off the bottom of the pile, number 10, Matt Smith, who is also the safety for University. He's their best athlete, and it will bring up a 4th down and 3. And on 4th down and 3 from the 31, Crawford is going to go for it, leading 8-0 in the ball game. 2 wide receivers in a slot to the right side, and now Williams joins them in motion. Fagerang going to do it himself, and is going to be stopped short.
Chris Miller, the coach of Crawford, is a very gutsy man. He first time he went for 2 points right on the first touchdown. Second time he comes up against a similar time, and he goes for it on 4th down. A lot of confidence in that Crawford defense.
The University now will take over on downs. They'll have the ball at their own 29-yard line. And they give it to Wilson over the left side. Tries to cut back up the middle, but really no hole there at all. And it'll be no gain on the play.
4 carries for 27 yards for Wilson at this point in the game.
Scott Gokenauer, again, the man in on the stop. And the last time we covered Crawford, we called that name quite a bit. And now we've got a timeout on the field, an official timeout. I believe one of the Crawford players had a slight equipment problem. The clock being stopped with 2 minutes and 11 seconds remaining here in the first period. In case you're just tuning in, Crawford is on top by a score of 8-0. They recovered a fumble at the University 26. Went in from there, the final 3 yards coming by way of Kevin Williams. They went for 2 on the conversion following a penalty against University. Each team has had the ball since. University has not been able to move it at all as Smith trying to get away and is instead going to lose all the way back inside the 10 to the 8-yard line.
Excellent defensive pursuit there by Crawford. Scott Gochenauer and 77 Ken Tan in for Crawford on that excellent pursuit defense.
So
Big
from
loss
the line
on
of
play.
scrimmage, the original line of scrimmage, which was all the way up at the 29, back inside the 10, that's a loss of about 21 yards. And it will bring up third down now. Number 80, Peter Haynes, goes split out to the far side. They give it to the man Wilson coming off the wing, and he gets perhaps to the 9 before he's run out of bounds.
Penalty flag right at the middle of the line of scrimmage.
I've got a hold on White. We've also got a clip on White.
Got 2 penalties against University. You take your pick, holding or clipping. I would think at this point that both of them would be declined so that the punting unit will come on. Once again, Matt Smith this time will go into his end zone to do the punting. And again, number 85 for Crawford, that is Steve Price, will go out to receive this punt. Crawford has definitely had the better of it as far as field position for the night. They have seen the ball twice. They got it the first time at the University 26. The second time they had to settle for it at their own 20. They drove it all the way down to the University 30, but could not move it on 4th down and had to give it up. Now he gets the football at the 40, trying to get outside a wall, and is not going to do it. Steve Price is dragged down from behind at the 42-yard line.
Excellent pursuit there by Crawford. If he'd broken that one block, they'd have been down at the 30, and they would have come right back to where they let the ball go and start again.
So Chris Miller's faith in his defense is justified, certainly at this point, to reward them going for on fourth down the last time they had the ball, even though they did not make it. Fagerang again brings them up. He gives it to the second man, Williams. Tiptoes his way across the line of scrimmage inside the 40, down close to the 35.
Jeff Elkin and Patrick McGriff on the block for Crawford on the right side.
And there is the gun ending the first period. So after one period of action, we've got a timeout with the score Crawford 8, University nothing. You're watching high school football on your Southwestern Cable connection. Several flags on the field as we start the second period of action. Crawford going to be called for illegal procedure. It'll be second down. And let's see where they're going to spot it at. Second down and 9 now as they move the ball all the way back to the 41-yard line. They bring number 80, Jeffrey Moulton, split out to this side. They have a double receiver slot on the other side. And Fagerang, quarterback draw up the middle. He gets what yardage they lost on the penalty back as he gets down close to the 35. And Rick, this is something we talked about the last time we covered them. The mobility of Fagerang is one of the big keys to this offense. He's very difficult to track down in that backfield.
The linebackers obviously cannot key on just the running backs when they've got a running quarterback like that, because he's calling his own number, and we've noticed that he's called his own number several times tonight.
So it'll be third down and a long 4 now for Crawford. Fagerang to throw, looking, he's got a man down the sideline and missed him. He had number 80, Jeffrey Moulton, one-on-one on this side. with number 11, Laurie Massa. And he had him open, but he just did overthrow him down near the 5-yard line. So once again, a 4th down situation in University territory, and once again, Chris Miller is not showing any of the slightest bit of despair. He's going to go for it. He has tremendous faith in the defense, and well, he should. They've been giving up just over a touchdown a game, and they are the number 5 defense in the county. Fagerang looking to throw a screen, gets it away, but it is incomplete. We have a penalty flag down at the 36-yard line.
Ed, I'm going to question Chris Miller's decision at this point in the game because he's at the 35-yard line. A good punt can put University City around the 5-yard line, and their excellent defense would have a chance for a safety or at the very least good field position on the return.
Well, that's true. At the same time, if they mess up that punt, it goes into the end zone, you only gain 15 yards. So I'm sure Miller is looking at it from both sides, and I'm also sure the fact that he is ahead 8-0 is a factor in his decision. So University, for the second time in the first half, will take over on downs, this time at their own 36-yard line. They give it to Correa up the middle, gets across the 40, up close to the 45. Strong running by Correa. Myron Williams brings him down. Martin Correa, number 33, 5'10", 170-pound junior. He ran for 623 yards this year, 109 carries. That's 5.7 yards average.
So far tonight, he has a couple of carries and 10 yards.
He picked up 9 on that play alone. Number 7, Rene Acosta, goes split out to the far side for University. Again, it is Correa up the middle. He's got the first down, and he's close to midfield. So University right now moving the football on the ground, and this you can see is what they do best and what they want to do against Crawford.
So far they haven't had any success in the air. Matt Smith 0 for 1 with only 1 pass attempted.
They give it to Wilson coming around this side, and he gets into Crawford territory, but just barely down to the 49. Coming up off the bottom of that pile for Crawford, number 15, that is Troy Batten.
Mark Hayes and Dean Wolf also in on that tackle for Crawford.
Again, Acosta goes split out to the far side, and number 2, John Canepa, is split over on this side in a wingback. Now he goes in motion to the far side, and Smith to throw. Big rush, but he gets it away, and it is complete at the 46-yard line. Number 32, that is James Wilson, who caught the pass. It'll be a gain of about 3. And right on him was, going after the quarterback that time was number 71, Scott Gokenauer. He was the man putting pressure on Smith.
A word on that particular play. That was almost a trap. And with the 5th official tonight, we had 1 official behind him, 1 official ahead of him, and each official had a good look. Last week we had a call where the referee had to overrule a play from across the field.
Again, Correa straight up the middle, bullying his way, refusing to go down, and he may very well have the first down. Just a tremendous individual effort that time by Martin Correa. And he has got a University first down.
This is what Crawford needs. They need to establish themselves on the ground, get the ball moving, and most of all, put the ball in the end zone this time.
Well, so far tonight, their most successful plays have been the quick hitters to Correa straight up the middle. Trying to run the sweep with Wilson coming off the wing position has not really been successful for them at all. This time it's Canepa going in motion to this side, and Smith to throw. And it is incomplete, intended for Wilson in the flat. Covered by Williams on the play. That is Kevin Williams for Crawford.
It was not a well-thrown pass, but you can't fault Matt Smith because he saw the linebacker right in the way, and he had to throw it in the ground to avoid the interception. So a good play by Matt Smith, but not a good catch.
The incompletion stops the clock with 8 minutes and 11 seconds remaining here in the first half. Crawford on top by a score of 8-0. And Smith again to throw. Gets a big rush, has a screen set up on the far side, but it is well defensed by Crawford, and there will be little or no gain on the play. We do have a penalty flag thrown deep in the backfield against Crawford. It's going to be roughing the quarterback. And University is going to get a break here. The Crawford lineman in on the play, a little overzealous. And at the very least, this penalty is going to give University a first down. Moves the ball inside the 25 down to the 24-yard line. And a major break here for the University Dons, as this is their deepest penetration into Crawford territory tonight.
5 penalties tonight for Crawford so far. And according to our statistician, they go for 40 yards.
Acosta split way out to this side. Smith gives it to Correa, trying to get over the left side. He gets perhaps a yard or two.
The big defensive lineman, Patrick McGriff, getting up from that play on the tackle.
And when you say big, you are not exaggerating. McGriff at 6 foot even, 250 pounds. The only person he would look small next to would be the refrigerator, William Perry. They give it straight ahead to Correa, and he gets inside the 20, down close to the 18-yard line. Michael Campbell is the man that brought him down, and it appears that Martin Correa is a bit shaken up on the play. One of the trainers comes out now to take a look at him. We've got a timeout on the field with 6 minutes 52 seconds remaining here in the first half. Crawford is on top by a score of 8-0. You're watching high school football on your Southwestern Cable Connection. Is helped off the field basically under his own power, so we'll have to wait and see just how serious that injury is. It will be a 3rd down and about 4 for University. Smith straightens up to throw and throws incomplete, intended for the receiver Acosta.
They had Matt Smith now 1 for 4, 6 yards gained in the passing department. Martin Correa leads the game with 6 carries, 33 yards.
In the ballgame now, number 45, Duke Gonzalez. And he will attempt a 34-yard field goal. Watching him in the pregame before this, he was booting them easily from the 40. So he's got plenty of foot. But it is not on line. He had plenty of distance, but he missed it to the right. And University's attempt to get on the board fails. The Crawford Colts will take over 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. Down and 8 now for Crawford as they gain 2 yards straight up the middle on 1st down. The clock moving inside, 6 minutes to go in the first half. Fajerang at quarterback. Gives it to the second man, Williams. Great cut to the outside, and he's got a 1st down up over the 35, close to the 40-yard line.
Excellent block for Crawford. Gave him about 5 yards by Dwight Brown, number 21, upfield, in keeping the defender outside, and the runner could go inside.
Number 11, Laurie Massey, the man that finally brought him down. It is another 1st down for Crawford. They have moved the ball well tonight. They only have 1 touchdown to show for it, that coming after a University fumble. Running the option to the far side. Fagerang pitches back. The ball is loose, but it rolls to one of the Crawford Colts, and he falls on it back at the 35. It is number 61, Mark Hayes, the man that came up with the football. And a very, very lucky break that time for Crawford, as that ball could easily have been picked up by University.
As we've seen tonight, Fagerang has called his own number, but Ed, I don't think we've seen a lot of experience on his part on the option play. That time he held it just too long, and he was being tackled as he let go of the ball.
It'll be second down and about 11. This time Fagerang wants to throw, has a man open in the flat and overthrows him for the second time. That is Jeffrey Moten. He has been open twice on this side, once on a fly pattern down by the 5, and now this time on an out pattern. And both times Fagerang overthrew him. Plus, to add insult to injury, we've got a penalty flag down, and it is going to be a holding call against Crawford. So the official talking things over with number 53, that is Pete Tereshuk. He's one of the captains for University, and they will accept the penalty.
A 10-yard penalty on the hold. So it'll be second down 20 for Crawford.
The penalty moves the ball back inside the 30 to the 26. Coming split out to this side, number 21, Dwight Brown for Crawford. Now a man in motion is Purdy as they give it to Kevin Williams up the middle. He bolts across the 30 up close to the 33-yard line. And number 5, Bert Whalen, is the man that brought him down, along with Tereshuk. They spot it at the 34-yard line, so it will be third down and 14 now. This time, number 82, Darrell Wesley, comes split out to the side. And this time it is Kevin Williams in motion going to the far side. Fagerang to throw, has time, has a receiver, and it is complete right at the first down marker up by the 48-yard line. That is Moten, Jeffrey Moten. And he showed what he could do once Fagerang got the ball down a few feet.
And Rene Acosta was the defender that made it into a circus catch, and a nice play. Good way to hold on to the ball.
Well, Moten is only 5'11", but he definitely went up the ladder that time for that completion. It is a first down. Crawford retains possession with 3.5 minutes to go in the first half. Fagerang on the quarterback draw is not really going to get anywhere. I have to think that that call is really not a good one at this point, Rick, because the quarterback draw is good when the defense is getting a lot of pressure on you and making a lot of backward progress into your backfield. At this point, University is really not pressuring him on the pass, so there's, the linemen don't go around him.
On first down, I agree. The quarterback, it would not be the time to call his own number unless it was a pure running play, and he was running back too far.
Williams takes the handoff, hole up the middle, bowling his way inside the 45, very close to a first down at the 41-yard line.
Jeff Elkin and Patrick McGriff, the two big men on the line, offensive line, responsible for the big hole.
And it is a first down for Crawford right at the 40-yard line. We're inside 3 minutes now in this first half. Each team still with their full complement of 3 timeouts remaining. Fagerang to throw, looking for Moten to this side, and it is incomplete once again. Number 11, Laurie Massey, the man on the coverage. And it appeared that Moten was there if the pass could have been delivered.
Fagerang now 3 for 5, 33 yards on the night passing. The second down play, this might be the time for your quarterback draw.
Second down and 10 from the 40. Fagerang to throw. Now they're getting good pressure on him, and he throws to this sideline, and I really think threw the ball away. Dwight Brown was in the area, but he had little or no chance of catching that ball.
I agree. The coverage on the play by Greg Champion was close. And in addition, there was another defender right there. If he'd underthrown the ball, it was not a good time to throw into coverage.
The incompletion stops the clock with 2 minutes and 14 seconds remaining in the first half. And we now have a third down and 10 as they bring both Brown and 82 Wesley to this side. Fagerang rolling to his right, getting pressured. Throws it as he is falling down, and it is incomplete. Number 72 for University. That is Mike Hastings. He had Fagerang by the back of the jersey. And once again now, Crawford, they are faced with a fourth down in University territory, and for the first time tonight, the punting unit comes on.
Fagerang was running away from the coverage. It doesn't appear that his offensive line is holding. They give him a couple of good secondary blocks there, but the pursuit is just too much, and finally he's picked up by number 78 for Mike Hastings, correction, for Uni.
So now Fagerang will drop back to punt formation. They get a good rush, but he gets it away, and it is fielded at the 8-yard line. That is Canepa, and he's going to be dropped inside the 5 at the 4. So that time, Rick, they used your blueprint to perfection, as they did not go for the first down. They went instead with the punt, kicked it inside the 10, and it's going to be first down and 10 for University at their own 8-yard line.
I would wonder whether Crawford had enough pursuit down there to keep the ball out of the end zone, and I question whether he should have picked up the ball or tried to let it go into the end zone.
So University deep in their own territory. They've got a minute and a half to work with. They give the ball to James Wilson, and he barely gets across the 5 to the 6. And now Crawford is going to use one of their timeouts as they have hopes of holding University here and getting good field position. So we have a timeout on the field with 1:24 to go in the half. Crawford is ahead by a score of 8-0. You're watching high school football on your Southwestern Cable Connection. Okay, second down and 11 now for University. The ball is now back at the 7-yard line. This deep in their own territory, they have to be extremely careful with the football. They give it to Wilson again over the right side. That play has not been successful at all in the half. You have to wonder why they're still running it. They're going to lose another yard or so back to the 5, and immediately Crawford calls their second timeout.
They want another hand on the football in the first half, and University would much rather that they let the clock run out, because I don't think they want to have the ball that deep in their own territory, especially after that one play that we saw where Crawford defense gained 25 yards on the play, and to the cost of University.
While we have a minute, we'd like to say thank you to the Coca-Cola Bottling Company. It's very much a part of their contributions that this game is possible at all. And we would also like to say thank you to Domino's Pizza for providing the dinner before tonight's ball game. Third down now from the 6-yard line. They give it straight up the middle this time, and they've got some running room, and they may even get a first down out over the 15. This time it was Burt Whalen, number 5, carrying the football. That is the running play that has been extremely successful for them in the half. Before, it was Martin Correa running the football, but since he has been out of the ball game with an injury, Burt Whalen has taken his place. It will not quite be enough for a first down, but you begin to wonder after they see the success of that play why they try to force Wilson around the end when he's not going anywhere.
I agree, and they will they need to punt right here and get a good long punt. Crawford still has time to strike here in the first half, as they'll get good field position with the ball.
A minute 12 remaining. Smith will be doing the punting, and he gets it away. Price is going to field the football at his 45 and go out of bounds. So Crawford will have it 1st and 10 at their own 45. We've got a minute 5 left to go in the half, and Crawford has 1 timeout left. So let's see now if the Crawford Colts can do something that they have not been able to do yet in the first half, and that is advance the football from their own territory into University territory and score with it. The only score of the ball game came early in the first period following a fumble deep in University territory. Tommy Fagerang at quarterback. He sends Kevin Williams in motion to this side. Looking down this sideline for Williams, and it is incomplete. And we have a penalty flag on the far side of the field back in the Crawford backfield.
It looks like a hold up at the line of scrimmage. That's the only way he could have had time to do that. Correction, it's an illegal motion play. As we look at this one again. Fagerang goes back, throws downfield, almost up for grabs, but no possibility of a catch. And the illegal motion moves it back 5 yards.
It'll be 1st and 15 now as University takes the penalty. That play took 7 seconds, so we've got 58 remaining in the first half. Again, Williams in motion. This time they give it to Purdy on the draw, and he's got some running room. Gets into University territory before finally being bumped out of bounds inside the 40 at the 39-yard line. And that is number 10, Matt Smith, the man that knocked him out of bounds.
Excellent play over left tackle. 21-yard gain on the play for Purdy on the night. He has, that puts him up around 35 yards for the night.
Williams coming in motion to this side. Fagerang to throw. Across the middle has a man. It is incomplete. Moten had it knocked out of his hands by number 80. And that is Peter Hawes, playing defensive back tonight for University. Timed his contact perfectly.
Excellent defensive play. Just as I was going to say, the contact was perfect. Any sooner, and we would have seen the yellow cloth down on the field.
.46 seconds remaining. Moten now comes split to this side, along with number 27, Lou Coons. And Williams in motion, and before we can do anything, we've got penalty flags. Too much time taken by the Crawford Colts.
Come on, offense, let's go, guys!
This has not really been a good half of football for Crawford, Rick. They've, even though they're, from what I've seen so far tonight, they're definitely the better team. They're really not playing all that well.
I agree. They took advantage of the one break. Their defense has been solid. Their pursuit has been excellent on defense, but the offense has not shown through.
Williams again in motion to this side. Fagerang rolling this side, throws long. He's got Moten out there, and it is tipped and incomplete.
The young man down there for University High School, Greg Champion, 6 foot, 160 pounds. He plays defensive back and also plays on the offense. He's a senior for University High. He's just been playing some excellent pass coverage for University High School and has been directly responsible for keeping them in this game and preventing the passing attack of Matt Smith.
Third down now at 15. The ball at the 44-yard line. We have 38 seconds remaining in the half. Now Fagerang directs Purdy in motion. Throws across the middle. It is complete. Down at the 35, still on his feet to the 32. It will not be enough for the first down. And now Crawford is going to have to take their final timeout of the half. So a timeout on the field with 28 seconds remaining in the first half. Crawford on top by a score of 8-0. You're watching high school football on your Southwestern Cable Connection. Fourth down now for Crawford. 4th and 4 from the 31 of University. Moten comes split out to this side. Man in motion is Coons. Fagerang to throw. It is complete down the far sideline. Coons is going to be bumped short of the end zone at the 5. That was number 80, Peter Hawes, the man that made that touchdown-saving tackle. It stops the clock with 21 seconds remaining, and Crawford will have a 1st and goal from the 5-yard line. Fagerang to throw into the end zone. It is complete. Touchdown.
It was the last defense of University that kept them in the game up to this point. Greg Champion on the near side on the pass coverage. As soon as Fagerang went to the far side, he completed 2 quick passes for the touchdown.
So with 17 seconds remaining in the half, Crawford gets it into the end zone again. The extra point is up and good. So we have a timeout on the field now with Crawford leading 14-0. You're watching high school football on your Southwestern Cable Connection.
Jane
is taken at the 10 to the 20, straight up the middle. The ball pops loose. And finally, University falls on it up at the 44-yard line.
And there's one for the Thursday evening funnies for high school football. The oblong, funny-shaped little brown ball out there just wreaked havoc among those high school ball players as we end the first half.
Well, on that note, we will end the first half of play here tonight with Crawford leading by a score of 15-0. We'll be back with a wrap-up of the first half right after this. You're watching high school football up by a score of 15-0. This is how the scoring went in the first half. Kevin Williams got Crawford on the board first with a 3-yard run, that coming with 8:17 remaining in the first period. After a penalty on University, they went for 2 points, and they were successful with it. Another run by Williams. They led 8-0 at that point. The rest of the first half was a seesaw battle, neither team moving the ball well. Once they got into the other's territory, there were quite a few penalties. Finally, however, with a little over a minute remaining, Crawford got the football back near midfield, moved it down the end zone. The touchdown coming with 17 seconds remaining in the half. Dwight Brown taking a 5-yard pass from Fagerang. The extra point try was good. And, of course, our halftime score is 15-0 in favor of Crawford. In turnovers, there's only been one in the entire first half. That was the fumble by University. That led to the original touchdown for Crawford. And now Rick Lakin with some first half statistics. Rick?
Thanks, Ed. First downs, they were all tied up at 5-5. Key stat there is one of those first downs did come on penalty for University. In the rushing department, Crawford 18 carries for 120 yards. University only 20 carries for only 32 yards. In the passing, Crawford again dominated, 64 yards for Fagerang, 3 yards for Smith in the passing. Total yards 184 for Crawford, 35 for University. Passing, Fagerang 5 for 11 and Matt Smith 2 for 6. The penalties, here's a key statistic. Crawford allowed 6 penalties, 55 yards, while University only had 2 penalties for 3 yards. Third down conversions, Crawford 1 for 5, University 2 for 6. In the individual stats, Kevin Williams dominated the rushing, 10 carries with 87 yards. The leader for the Dons was Martin Correa, 8 carries for 35 yards. The other two backs, Troy Purdy, had 3 carries, 25 yards. James Wilson, 9 carries, 14 yards.
We have no definitive word yet. If you'll remember, in the first half, Martin Correa went out with an injury. That came late in the first period. We have not gotten any word yet as to whether he will return. He did not play the rest of the first half.
Well, sometimes we can sit back.
The two teams are coming back on the field now. Crawford will be receiving the kick here to open the second half. I have to think, Rick, that as we watch this ball game in the first half, as you mentioned, really Crawford, the penalties have hurt them considerably. And they have moved the ball well, but it seemed like every time they got within striking distance, they would have a penalty that would hurt them.
The breaks and the penalties, the break was what gave Crawford its first score, but the penalties have been what have stopped them since then. The other key thing is the secondary play. I think a key player for the University Dons has been Greg Champion, number 11, who has done the pass coverage on the near side and has caused Fagerang to throw out of bounds several times. As soon as Fagerang threw to the far side on that final drive of the first half, he made 2 quick passes to that far side for a quick touchdown.
Okay, the teams are back on the field, and we will be back with the second half of tonight's ball game right after this. Crawford leading 15-0. You're watching high school football on your Southwestern Cable Connection. Duke Gonzalez will be kicking off for University. Back deep for Crawford. We've got number 31, looks like Michael Campbell, and I believe number 21, Dwight Brown. So if you're just tuning in, we've got 24 minutes of action left to go in tonight's contest. Sit down, pull up a chair, get comfortable, watch some high school football, and rekindle some memories. This kickoff is a deep one. Will go into the end zone and will be brought out to the 20-yard line. Duke Gonzalez again showing an excellent foot. And Crawford will have it 1st and 10 at their own 20.
I think we've noticed tonight that University does find itself with a solid point in the kicking game, in the punting and the kickoff department. One key punt this second half, or in the first half, prevented Crawford from scoring towards the end of the first half.
Tommy Fagerang opens up at quarterback once again. Behind him, Kevin Williams, the lone setback. And the give is to Williams straight up the middle. He gets up over the 20, perhaps to the 22. Number 10, Matt Smith, along with number 5, Eric Coleman, the men in on the stop. They'll credit him with a gain of a couple. It'll be 2nd and 8. Coming out of the game now for Crawford, number 71, Scott Gokenauer. Fagerang keeping the ball himself now, pitches back to the trail back. And they've got some yardage up over the 30, very close to a first down as they crossed over the out-of-bounds mark on the far side of the field.
The pursuit that time by number 80, John Castillo, and James Wilson for University.
Troy Purdy, the ball carrier that time for Crawford. It is a first down. And now Duerl Wesley comes split out to this side. The quick pitch is to Williams, trying to get outside and cannot turn the corners. He's bumped out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Number 11, Greg Champion, the man over here to push him out of bounds. He does pick up about 5 or 6 yards. Well, let's call it 6 yards on the play. They spotted at the 37. It'll be 2nd down and 4. Again, no So Fagerang hanging on to the football, looking for Moten down this side. It is complete at the 31. We have a penalty flag down.
Ed, I believe that might be called on the offense because the receiver had to get around Champion to make the play. I was wrong. It is called against Champion.
That is the first time tonight that Fagerang and Moten have been able to hook up on that pass, a 27-yard completion. They have had numerous opportunities. Moten has been open several times over this on this sideline, and finally they got it together.
Just go with it.
So it will be a first down at the 30-yard line. Crawford trying to get it in gear now. They bring Purdy in motion to the side, give it to Williams. Straight up the middle, he's inside the 30, down to the 25. Number 53, Pete Tereshuk, the man coming up off the bottom of the pile that time for University. Along with number 5, Eric Coleman. Kevin Williams now with 101 yards on the night rushing for the ball game. Again, Purdy in motion to the side, and once again it is Kevin Williams with the football. Still on his feet, refusing to go down. He has got the first down inside the 20 to the 16. Kevin Williams just tore himself out of the grasp of number 11, Greg Champion, and Champion appears to be hurt.
Champion made an excellent hit on Williams, but Williams just powered his way away from it, out of the grasp of Greg Champion. And Champion, it would be a big loss to the University defense tonight. He's anchored it, made some big plays continuously on the evening.
Well, it's hard to say exactly what the problem is looking at him. He's holding his right arm and hand like perhaps as he tried to grasp the running back as he went through, he just pulled it out of his hand.
There's the hit. It was Champion that undercut Williams, and it might be a shoulder from what we saw in the replay.
Now, looking at it as he walks off, I think you're right. The way he's holding that right arm and shoulder, he's holding it very, very gingerly. So it is a first down. They mark it at the 17-yard line. New man in motion is number 11, Myron Williams. They give it to the second man through, and he goes nowhere. Stacked up in the backfield, Tereshuk, the first man through, along with Eric Coleman. And that was Troy Purdy trying to find a hole up the middle where none existed. It will be a loss of at least one on the play, going back to the 19. Let's call it second down at 11. The clock is moving here in the third period with 9.5 minutes to go in this period. Dwight Brown, the receiver to this side. Quickly, Fagerang throws and completes a pass to Randy Johnson, number 44, just in the ball game. He gets down to the 15, but actually fell down when he could have picked up some more yardage.
It seems as though Fagerang is getting his receivers into the habit of diving for the ball, and even if they do catch the ball, they're not going to get any yardage.
That's a bad habit to be in, especially at the high school and college level, where once your knee touches down, you are down and can go no further. They give him a gain of about 4, so it'll be third down and 7 now. They give it over the left side to Purdy, trying to get outside. He gets inside the 10 to the 5. It will be enough for a first down. And it will be first and goal for the Crawford Colts, the ball at the 3-yard line. Troy Purdy now with 59 yards on the ball game tonight. They give it to Williams. He's going to walk in. Touchdown, Crawford, but wait a minute. We have a penalty flag thrown back in the interior of the line.
Mark Hayes on a block for Crawford that allowed Williams to get around.
And the touchdown is going to be nullified. A holding call against Crawford is going to cost them the touchdown and 15 more yards besides. Check that. Make that 10 yards besides. They will go back to the 14-yard line, and it will be first and goal from the 14. Coming into the ball game, number 80, Jeffrey Moulton, number 27, Lou Coons.
The way the running game's going, I think this is 4-down territory, and they can put it in from here.
Fagerang sends Williams in motion to this side. They have thrown every time from that set. Pumps once, pulls it down, now gets it away, and it is intercepted at the 5. Matt Smith intercepts it, runs it back out across the 20. And University has dodged a bullet deep in their own territory.
Number 56, Jeff Elkin, made the important tackle on that play to run Smith out of bounds.
But you really, when you look back at it, Rick, you have to credit that penalty because they were in the end zone. You take away the holding call, and University is now down at least 21-0.
That's true, Ed. And again, we see the penalties. That's their 8th penalty of the night, 71 yards.
The give is to the big man. Wilson cuts back against the grain up over the 30, close to a first down out at the 35-yard line. Number 11, that is Myron Williams, the man that finally brought him down, and it is a first down for University.
This is that classic time in the ball game. The team comes out in the second half, has a big long drive, has it called back for some reason. The other team makes a big play, gets the ball, drives downfield, and it's a new ball game. University can take this opportunity right here.
Well, certainly University behind 15-0. They are not out of this game by any stretch of the imagination. This time it is Eric Coleman who gets the ball up the middle, gets perhaps a yard or so up over the 35. Kevin Williams, the man coming up off the bottom of the pile that time. Number 7, Rene Acosta in the game for University, bringing in a play from the bench, and he splits out far to the right side. Smith to throw. Steps inside a rush, throws, it is incomplete. Acosta, the intended receiver. And good coverage there that time by Crawford.
Also, the pass coverage by Kevin Williams and Scott Gochenor threatened Matt Smith on that play, and I think had a great effect on the throw.
3rd down and 9 now for University as Peter Hawes comes in with a play from the sidelines. Splitting out with him to the far side, John Canepa, and Smith to throw. Rolling to his right is a big rush, and it is incomplete, in and out of the hands of Wilson. And once again, we have a penalty flag back on the 23-yard line. This is going to be a holding call against University. Scott Gochenauer had gotten all the way in deep into the backfield that time, and you could just see as he got up off the ground clapping his hands, he knew what the official was going to say.
Another point on that pass play, the pass play was thrown high and the receiver knocked it up, then turned his head and just hoped somebody didn't intercept it.
Those are the kind you hate to see when that ball gets tipped up in the air where anybody can grab it. So the punting unit comes on now for University. Matt Smith, who does a little bit of everything for University. He's the quarterback. He's their safety. He intercepted the pass a few moments ago. Now comes on to do the punting duties. Steve Price will be back deep to receive it. He just does get it away as we have a penalty flag down. I believe one of the Crawford Colts might have gotten a hand on that one. The ball will be down at the 47-yard line, and let's see now what the penalty is.
I believe we'll see 2 penalties on this because the referee flagged the offensive line leaving before the punt was kicked.
It is going to go against University, and it appears Crawford is going to make them punt over again. It was a short punt by Smith, but Crawford going to make him do it again. The ball now back at the 30-yard line. Steve Price, number 85, standing at about his own 40. And Smith will retreat back to his 15 to take this snap. Crawford came very close to blocking the last one, but this time they do not get near it. And the ball takes a University bounce and is going to be stopped at the 44-yard line, and that's where Crawford's going to take over, 1st and 10.
I believe University gained on that penalty, Ed, because that was a short punt to begin with, and Matt Smith got off a much better punt, even with the bounce back towards Uni.
Well, this is one of those times when you might think that they would have been well advised to leave well enough alone and take the punt the way it was. As it is, they will have the ball in good field position, 1st and 10 at their own 44. We've got a little over 6 minutes remaining in the 3rd period here. Fagerang to throw, looking long down the left sideline and overthrowing the intended receiver. That is number 21, Brown.
Rene Acosta over on the far side is the defensive back for University.
Crawford has tried to hit receivers on both sides going long down the sidelines tonight. They have only been successful one time. Fagerang gives to Williams over the left side. He is hit there by Eric Coleman and stacked up after a couple of yards. It'll bring up a 3rd down and long situation for the Colts.
Jeff Elkin and Rod Fantelli on the left side of that line for Crawford, blocking for Williams.
They credit him with a gain of 4, so let's call it 3rd down and 6 now. As Moten comes split out to this side. Randy Johnson, number 44, in the backfield now for Crawford. And Fagerang rolling to this side, cuts inside a man now, trying to make it on his own. And he is going to be stopped short of midfield, and after a lot of running is only going to end up with perhaps a yard gain.
And again, Matt Smith comes back from the defensive back position and comes in and makes the play for University.
And now the punting unit will come on for Crawford, as Fagerang will be doing the punting for the Colts. And Canepa will be back deep at the 20-yard line for University. A low end over end. It is going to bounce at the 28 and go out of bounds at the 22. So University will take over 1st and 10 with 4:35 remaining in the period. We've got a timeout on the field. Crawford ahead 15-0. You're watching high school football on your Southwestern Cable connection. Wilson tries the left side of the Crawford line, and he meets up with Myron Williams, and he is dropped for a loss of a couple back to the 22-yard line. Second down and 12 now for University. Matt Smith trying to light a fire under the Dons, rolling to his left, being chased and being rolled down from behind. Scott Gokenauer coming from his left tackle position, and Matt Smith never saw him until it was too late. This loss will drop University back inside the 15 to the 14-yard line.
The offensive blocking on the right side never had Gokenauer all the way. Matt Smith came to the near side, and Gokenauer was on his tail from the very beginning.
We're at the 13-yard line.
We have called Gokenauer's name so many times, both tonight and the last time we covered this team against Lincoln. You'd have to think he's a definite all-league and perhaps even all-CIF prospect. Smith rolling to his right to throw, and this play is going to be stopped with a penalty flag before it can really get going.
It looked like Jeff Elkin jumped across before the ball was snapped. And that's what the call is.
Offsides Crawford. This will get back 5 of the yards that they lost on the quarterback sack. So now University will be looking at a 3rd down and about 18 from their own 19-yard line. Canepa in motion to the far side. Smith to throw. Big rush up the middle. He gets it away and overthrows the intended receiver, Wilson. We have a penalty flag down at the 16-yard line, and Matt Smith took a tremendous hit from Williams after he let go of that football.
We have an illegal block against University.
This one is going to be an illegal block against University. It will be declined, and 4th down will come up. And so far here in the 3rd period, we've got about 2 minutes, 45 seconds remaining. Rick, we've seen mostly an exchange of punts. Both defenses playing well, but still each team hurting themselves with penalties.
That's true, Ed. The kicking game, though, is to University's favor. In each case, they've gained on the punt exchanges. It's their offense that's lost, and another flag.
Another one against University now.
Nothing, 2-yard pass.
Is that ineligible receiver downfield, Ed?
I believe so.
Okay, that would mean that one of the linemen left too early from the line of scrimmage.
Steve Price is back deep now for Crawford, and now Smith, after the penalty, will be punting out of his end zone. Drops the football, but manages to get it away. Price will field it at the 47. Runs straight ahead yardage down close to the 40-yard line, and now Crawford will have their best field position of the second half.
That kicker's feeling real good right about now.
University, by virtue of the penalties and the losses, lost significantly on that exchange, and their kicking game couldn't get them out of it. This is a key drive for Crawford in order to get some momentum going to put this game away.
1st and 10, the ball just shy of the 40-yard line. Bajorang, quick pitch to Troy Purdy around the left side. Manages to turn the corner, but really can only get a couple of yards. And once again, we've got yellow flags down.
Pointing to the center of the line. And it is a hold.
Another major penalty. And Crawford really hurting themselves so far with penalties. I don't know if we've got any unofficial stats on the penalties.
10th penalty of the night. Well over 60 yards on the penalties.
It's really unusual when you think about it. Crawford is a well-coached ball club, a disciplined club. And it's unusual for a team like that to be getting this many penalties in a game this late in the year.
I agree, and many of these penalties have been poor play, not aggressiveness.
Purdy on the draw. Gets inside the 45 down close to the 40, so he picks up most of the yardage that they lost on the penalty. You have to wonder, Rick, if perhaps it might not have come about. One of the things a lot of people were mentioning coming into this game, if Crawford might not be just a little overconfident. And sometimes when you're overconfident, you get a little lax in your play.
I have seen that as much in the team as I've seen in the manner that the team has been coached tonight. Chris Miller seems to be doing a lot of moves.
2nd down and 10 as Williams comes in motion to the side. Quick throw is complete. Lou Coons has the 1st down inside the 30-yard line.
Excellent hit there by James Wilson for University City. Stopped him cold.
So now Crawford 1st down and 10 from the 29-yard line. They lead in this ball game 15-0. And we have 1 minute exactly remaining in the 3rd period. Bajorang cuts inside of tackler this side, finally pitches out to Williams, and he could go all the way. Touchdown, Crawford. And you can credit that touchdown to the heads-up play of Tommy Bajorang. Bajorang, running the option to this side, was hit a couple of times and drew literally every tackler to himself before managing to pitch that ball to Kevin Williams. And then Williams did the honors.
Bajorang to Williams right there as it goes in. And Ed, you were talking about overconfidence. I think that was a play showing some overconfidence on the quarterback's part, as the extra point kick is good, but the overconfidence on the quarterback's part, that was a great play in that it worked and scored a touchdown. It would have been a terrible play, especially since the pass was back, and that it could have been a fumble had the ball hit the ground. We'll try to look at this again. But we don't get the replay as we line up for the kick.
So Crawford now ahead by a score of 22-0. And the way their defense has been playing tonight, you would have to think that would be more than enough points for them to go on here in the CIF playoffs. Ken Tan now will come on to do the kicking for Crawford. This one will be taken at the 8-yard line. Straight up the middle, close to the 25. That was Greg Champion, the man running that football. And University will take over 1st and 10 at their 26. And they have really got to get themselves going now with 35 seconds remaining in the 3rd period, or their football season will be over after this evening.
Matt Smith on the night. At this point, it might be necessary to bring out his passing stats. He's only thrown 2 complete passes out of 9 throws. So Matt Smith is not strong in the passing department.
Smith back to throw, a big rush, throws, it is incomplete. James Wilson had the ball go right through his hands. It's interesting to note, Rick, that Smith is having such a bad game because coming into tonight's game, he had completed 69 of 166 yards. That's not even close to 50% on the year, for 890 yards, but he had completed 10 touchdowns.
He's able to get it into the end zone, and back to you on the play.
What it appears is that Smith does not complete a high percentage, but the ones that he does complete go for a good yardage. On that particular pass there, his arm is grabbed as he was throwing the football, and the ball falls harmlessly to the ground. We now have 3 seconds remaining in the period. The unfortunate situation here for University is that they are now put in a position where they almost literally have to pass if they're going to get back in the ball game at all.
Their running game has not been established. They only had 32 yards rushing in the first half, only 3 yards passing. They haven't improved on those statistics greatly here in the 3rd quarter.
Smith to throw, has time, down the middle, and overshoots his receiver, and that is the gun ending the 3rd period. So timeout on the field as we switch ends here with the score. Crawford 22, University nothing. You're watching high school football on your Southwestern Cable connection. In the final period of play tonight, Crawford comfortably ahead 22-0. And University once again in punt formation. It seems that they have been in that formation for almost the entire 2nd half. Matt Smith gets it away. And it will be down by University at the 38-yard line. That's where Crawford will take over 1st and 10.
An excellent point, an excellent punt by Matt Smith, but he comes up with a limp. He didn't hit it right, and his right foot looks very sore as he walks back up to the field to join a defensive huddle. You've got to wonder at this point whether Matt Smith can play defense and offense as well as he's doing and still be able to come out fresh and throw the ball when they get back on offense.
Kevin Williams in motion, and Fagerang to pass, rolling to his right, now trying to get away from the rush. Gets a couple of big blocks and picks up a first down on the far sideline, run out of bounds at the 47. And I think we're going to see some additional yardage tacked on after the play.
Rene Acosta on the tackle for University. And the penalties against Crawford, so we're going to take some away.
Matt Smith, the man we were just talking about a moment ago, who is going both ways at safety and quarterback for University tonight, is down on the ground back at the 20-yard line of Crawford. And he is not moving. That right leg, we mentioned a minute ago, he'd come up after the punt limping. And that right leg now is apparently in much more serious condition.
It could be a cramp or a shin splint. Something that he might be able to come back from. But he did come up limping off that punt, and then he took off and ran down to the 20 of Crawford. And now he's down, and one of the trainers is attending to him.
The penalty is against Crawford. It will bring the ball back to the 44-yard line, where it will be a first down, should be a second down play and 7. And Matt Smith is now up on his feet, and the way he's walking, I believe you're exactly right, Rick. I think that is a cramp. Now, as of this point in the ball game, Crawford has been penalized for 91 yards. So even though they're winning this game 22-0, and they appear to be heading for the second round of the CIF playoffs, this is not going to be one of the game films you want to look back on with a lot of pride. Fumble on the handoff, and we've got penalty flags down and utter confusion all over the field.
And you're right, you don't want to look at this game film, but you don't even want to think about coming into against some of the ball clubs that they're coming up against and continuing in the 2A division.
This is another penalty against Crawford for procedure. Moves them back inside the 40, where it will be once again first down and 11 yards to go. The winner of this game, by the way, will play the winner of the El Capitan San Marcos ball game, and that game will be played next Saturday night, November 30th. Purdy goes in motion. They give it to Kevin Williams straight up the middle. He is stacked up right at the line of scrimmage by number 50, Barzak. And he will be, he will be stopped right at the 40. It'll be a gain of a couple, bringing them back to the original line of scrimmage. Kevin Williams now with 110 yards unofficially on the night rushing. Fagerang on a long count, looking to throw. Down the middle, it is complete. In University territory at the 37-yard line. Now wait, now they are saying it is incomplete. Dwight Brown was the man who appeared to have come up with the football, but as Rick talked about before, we have an extra official for tonight's game, and that extra man ruled that it was incomplete.
Again, what we saw the same thing we saw last week. The official who had the receivers back to him signaled the completion. The official away from the play that was looking right at the catch made the call that it was an incomplete pass.
And that will bring up third down now back at the 40-yard line. And we've got motion on Crawford, and once again penalty flags.
It appeared that all of the offensive line missed the count, or the quarterback was thinking, and the defensive back missed the offensive back missed the count too. This will be a false start.
Well, it's taking the officials a while to sort it out. It appears that we may get a call against University. At least that is what Tommy Fagerang would like to see. Too much time against Crawford is the call. It appeared as though the officials could have taken their pick that time, and that play, Rick, reminded me a little bit of the old story about the we do have a personal foul against University as well, so we have offsetting penalties.
No, Ed. They flagged the play. They ran that yardage off, and now they're marking the dead ball penalty that occurred after the flag. So, those will not be offsetting penalties because they did not occur on the same play.
What I want to know is why don't they have an interpreter up here in the booth so we can figure all this out? First down and 10 now for Crawford at midfield. They give it over the right side. They get down close to the 46-yard line before the entire University team brings them down. The ball carrier was number 11, Myron Williams, in the ball game now. And let's credit him with a gain of 4 yards. We're inside the 10-minute mark here in the final period. Dwight Brown goes split out to the far side, and number 82, Durrell Wesley, comes split out to this side. In motion, Kevin Williams. They give it to the first man, Troy Purdy, and he gets to the 45, and no further.
Good play by the defensive line. Ricky Acosta and Ray Smith make the tackle on Purdy.
Now third down and a long 4. Jeffrey Moten back in the ball game at a wide receiver spot. They send Randy Johnson in motion. Fagerang to throw, complete. Dwight Brown, now he drops the football. He appeared to have it for a moment, and then he was hit by number 80, Peter Hawes.
Good ruling by the official. We couldn't see it because it was on the other side from us, but he appeared to be juggling the ball. The player hit him, and he lost possession of the ball. So that'll bring up a punting situation again.
Both Tommy Fagerang and Matt Smith, they have been giving both of their feet a workout tonight. Fagerang gets this one away, and it will be fair caught at the 15-yard line. Canepa doing the honors. So University will take over first and 10 now. They've got 8 minutes and 53 seconds remaining in the football game. This unofficially a 45-yard punt. And they will have first and 10 now. Well, Matt Smith's injury not serious enough to keep him out of the ball game as he is back in the game, and on first down completes a 7-yard pass up to the 22-yard line. So second down and 3 now. Again, Smith to throw, keeps it himself, and is very close to the first down as he gets across the 25 up to the 26.
Good play by Matt Smith. The Crawford indicated blitz. They came across the line of scrimmage. Matt Smith held up just long enough for the coverage to overrun him, and he got the first down by getting by the blitz. Good play by Matt Smith.
We're inside 8.5 minutes in the football game. Crawford on top, 22-0. University trying to get something going in a game dominated by the Colts and by penalties. This pass complete to James Wilson, and we're going to get some additional yardage as I believe the Crawford Colts are going to be whistled for a face mask penalty.
The play by Crawford on that particular play, the man was already down. He was trying to strip the ball. He got too aggressive, and that's another costly penalty for Crawford, putting them over 100 yards in penalties for the night.
111 yards in penalties, according to our ace statistician here, Thomas McCormick. The penalty will move the ball into Crawford territory at the 47-yard line. Smith to throw, gets a big rush, steps away from it, but is now going to be dropped back at the 45 of University.
We go back 13 and put it.
And that's big number 61, Mark Hayes, the man that brought him down.
That would have been a 10-yard pass. Yeah, because we go for the 48.
Be a loss of 7 on the play. They'll spot it at the 46 of University.
Go back another 13, puts it at the 37.
And the clock moving now with 7 minutes, 20 seconds remaining in the ball game. Smith rolling to his left, gets a big rush, but gets it away, and it is complete. A beautiful pass to Rene Acosta at the 40-yard line. He caught it falling down, and on that play, they worked it to perfection.
University being able to establish their passing game now here late in the game. But the penalties still by Crawford are benefiting them even more.
Third down and a long 3 now from the 40. Peter Hawes split out to this side, and Smith to throw. It is complete in the flat. They've got the first down, still on his feet, number 35, Greg Vigilante, and he is finally brought down inside the 25 at the 24-yard line.
Crawford safety Myron Williams got too greedy on the play. He had his hand out. He thought he had the interception, and he let it go right into the receiver's hand. That was a costly mistake by Crawford if they want to maintain this shutout.
Smith now unofficially 4 of 12 for 40 yards on the night. Easily the deepest penetration for University into Crawford's territory in this half. It is thrown complete to James Wilson over here at the near sideline. He is run out of bounds by Kevin Williams and Antwine Carter.
As we look at this again on our replay, good shot into the corner, and the catch by James Wilson as he goes out of bounds.
It is a gain of 5. It'll be second down and 5 just inside the 20. We have 6 minutes and 2 seconds now remaining in the ball game. Hawes goes split out far to the far side, and Smith rolls that way. Throws back across the middle. It is complete to the tight end. Down inside the 10, we have penalty flags down. Bucket Gonzalez, the man who made that catch. We have an injured Crawford Colt down on the field as the officials discuss this penalty.
13, 15, 4, and don't know because of this one.
We can't tell at this point who the injured player is. The penalty is going to go against University.
And it was number 44, Randy Johnson, that was hurt. And the key thing about that, he wasn't even involved directly in the play, and he took the hit that got him hurt away from the ball.
Quite often, that is how injuries happen in football. When you're least expecting it, you're not ready. So we've got a timeout on the field, 5:55 remaining. The score 22-0 in favor of Crawford. You're watching high school football on your Southwestern Cable Connection. University moves the ball back to the 34-yard line. So we have a third down and about 20 now for University. We have an injured man down on the field. His name is Randy Johnson. He was hurt on the previous play. As we were talking about it before, it's one of those plays where when you're not expecting it, you're not expecting to be hit, your body is relaxed, and then you get hit from behind, that's when you get injured. And we can see now Randy Johnson coming off the field more or less under his own power, which is something we're quite happy to see. I think just about everybody in all of the sports fandom is a little shy on injuries now after watching what happened to Joe Theismann last week on Monday Night Football.
I just saw the replay on that tonight, Ed, and that the near side replay showed that graphically the dangers of playing quarterback in the National Football League and anywhere in football.
It is not a thing for a weak stomach. As we are back to live action, Matt Smith tripped up in the backfield by Scott Gokenauer. Gokenauer was on the ground having been blocked there, but Smith literally could not get out of his way and fell over it. Now that loss moves the ball back to the 43-yard line, and University, after doing quite well moving the ball down inside the 15 of Crawford, has got it stuck in reverse. After the penalty, they're all the way back at the 43.
Thomas McCormick points out to us that that is the 4th sack for Scott Gokenauer tonight.
It is 4th down, and University going to go for it anyway. They give it to Wilson. Wilson is going to pass it downfield. He's got a man, and it is incomplete. Now, what goes unnoticed, 23, Damian Cormier is the man in on that play for Crawford, but what went unnoticed by James Wilson, the quarterback, Matt Smith, after giving him the ball, went out to the left side as a pass receiver and was wide open at the 30-yard line. Nothing between him and the end zone but grass.
One thing we've always noted when you have a flea flicker play like that, that back that has that ball has one receiver in mind, as they practiced it time after time.
Crawford takes over on downs, 1st and 10. Fagerang fakes the handoff, now pitches back to Kevin Williams. Williams gets outside at the 45 before being run out of bounds at the 48-yard line.
The running play of Williams seems to be the only consistent factor in the entire Crawford offense. The penalties are holding them up, and Williams is turning it around.
Well, certainly if Crawford expects to live up to the #1 seed in the playoffs, as they are, they're going to have to execute quite a bit better next week against either El Capitan or San Marcos than they have tonight. 2nd and 5 from the 48. They give it to Williams again. He gets outside for the 1st down and into University territory and down to the 41-yard line.
Going on with that, Ed, you can't give any of the other teams in the playoffs, I don't think you could give them over 100 yards in penalties, add that on top of their total offense, and still win the ball game. You just can't give. That's just like giving them another rusher running 100 yards.
It'll be 1st down and 10 now for Crawford at the 42-yard line is where they spot it at. Fagerang, quick pitch to this side. Troy Purdy gets outside at the 40. Down to the 30. Finally, one man, number 85, that is Bucket Gonzalez, drags him down from behind to save a touchdown, and we have a penalty flag down. The initial call holding against Crawford.
And even Williams can't overcome the yellow flag. Here's the play. Williams comes to the near, or Purdy comes to the near side. Let's see, there's the hold right there on the right side of your picture as Purdy goes down.
And again, one of those holding calls that really, not only is it a bad call, but it's unnecessary because it happens at the end of the play when you really don't need to make that kind of a hold. So often those penalties are unnecessary because they happen quite a ways away from where the play is actually happening. So it is still 1st down for Crawford. Fagerang going to air it out for Moten. Touchdown! A 35-yard touchdown pass from Fagerang to Moten. They've been trying to run that play all night long. They finally succeeded with 3:17 remaining in the ball game.
Moten looked over his right shoulder as the ball was coming in and then turned to his left as the ball was coming in to him.
Now Fagerang to do the extra point, and that is up and good, but we have a penalty flag down, so let's hold everything.
a Crawford player down right in the middle of the crowd, and the way the players are signaling, he appears to be hurt rather seriously.
The
An
extra
offensive
point,
lineman, he's getting up by himself.
the extra point is good, as the penalty is against University. The penalty will be marched on the kickoff.
And Patrick McGriff comes off under his own power.
So we have a timeout on the field, 3:17 remaining. Crawford now ahead by a score of 29-0. You're watching high school football on your Southwestern Cable connection. The penalty, as we mentioned, against University being marked off before the kickoff here. So Crawford will kick off from the University 45-yard line. And Ken Tan will boot it deep into the end zone. University will take it out to their 20, 1st and 10.
Fagerang on the night for Crawford has been a big factor. 12 for 20, 233 yards in the air. So in addition to Williams, big offense over 100 yards running, Fagerang has passed for over 200 yards.
Now we're going to kick this one over again. Crawford being whistled for offsides. They will now kick it again from midfield. And Tan will see if he can boot it into the end zone. So again, not exactly an artistic triumph for Crawford, but they will take it and advance to the next round of the playoffs. And this kick will once again go into the end zone, where University will bring it out. Unofficially, we have Crawford with 441 total yards on the night, which is certainly a good offensive night for just about anybody. But when you think of the number of times that they stopped themselves as far as the penalties are concerned, they could easily be ahead by another couple of touchdowns.
I agree. I would wonder whether the amount of yards Crawford has given them on penalties for University exceeds their own total yards for the night.
So Matt Smith still in the ball game, trying to get something going for University. Throws complete in the flat to James Wilson. Wilson bumped out of bounds across the 30, and once again we have the ever-present yellow flag down on the field.
And we have a ball player down on the near side. It appears that he might have been kicked on the way down.
Coach Miller, take it back.
The call is going to be holding against Crawford, so the penalty yardage against the Colts continues to mount. Number 26, that is Antoine Carter, the man who was down for Crawford. He comes up very much under his own power, so he just was apparently had the wind knocked out of him or something for a moment. But again, Crawford cannot seem to keep from committing the penalties. It will be a first down for University at the 30. Smith almost trips and falls as he goes back to throw. Now gets his balance and throws incomplete up at the 40-yard line. That was intended for Hawes, number 80. That incompletion stops the clock with 3 minutes and 3 seconds remaining in this ball game. And it will once again be second down and 10. Crawford substituting liberally now as they're trying to get a lot of these ball players into the game that might not have seen action otherwise. Smith again to throw, rolling left, looks, has a man, it is complete. That is Acosta across the 43-yard line. It will be good enough for a first down for University. Number 23, Damian Cormier, the man who is covering him on the play. And as you see Cormier getting up, he is one tired individual. Smith quickly throws to the sideline. It is complete. Gonzalez turns upfield, gets into Crawford territory. and very close to another first down. Second down now for University. The ball at the 47-yard line of Crawford. We've got 2 minutes 39 seconds remaining in this football game. The Crawford Colts comfortably on top 29-0. They will advance to the next round of the CIF playoffs against the winner of the El Capitan San Marcos game. And that game will be played next Saturday night, November 30th. Matt Smith fakes the handoff to Wilson. Now he comes around, gives it to him again. And Wilson struggling to get back to the line of scrimmage. It seemed like an awful lot of work for 1 yard.
That might be enough for the first down, though, Ed.
We have another player down on the field. You know, Rick, we have seen in this second half several players for both sides go down with injuries, and you just have to wonder about the fatigue factor at this point in the game. First down and 10 now for University. We've got 2:25 remaining in the ball game.
As we were talking about the fatigue, we have to stress that University probably suffers it more because they've got so many players playing both ways.
But it has been a real problem tonight, especially in this second half, as we have seen several injured players go down.
Oh, nobody else is going to do anything.
At any rate, University now set to go 1st and 10, trying to salvage a little pride out of this football game. Matt Smith back to throw, throws across the middle. It is incomplete, and we do have another penalty flag down.
If these officials move on to the next level of play in the CIF, I expect that they're going to have to wash their flags. Some of those flags must be as dirty as some of the players' uniforms, as much as they've been on the ground tonight.
Well, I don't wonder that the officials might need a couple of slings for their arms. They've been throwing them so much tonight.
The officials, Al Thomas and the referee, Bob Weisham, the umpire, Bill Gottschall, the head linesman, field judge, Fred Mitchell, and back judge, Gary Gerwig.
And just so no one misunderstands, we're not in any way criticizing them as making bad calls. We're simply saying, which is really redundant because you've seen it right along with us, they have thrown the flags an awful lot tonight. This penalty moves it back into University territory at the 44-yard line, and Smith again to throw. In the flat, incomplete, intended for Canepa. And that pass, incomplete pass, will stop the clock with 2 minutes and 14 seconds remaining. While we have a moment, we would like to say that this game is being brought to you in part tonight through a grant from the Coca-Cola Bottling Company. And we would also like to thank the Domino's Pizza people for providing the refreshments for the cast and crew before the ball game tonight. These two sponsors have been with us all year long, and we gratefully accept their help. Second down now. Man in motion as Wilson gets the football, looking, and you can tell the coaches saw it before as he's looking for Smith, and he finds Smith. It is complete down the far sideline. Smith run out of bounds along the 30.
And again, something you don't like to see, the defensive back got in front of the receiver and then put it back up so he could catch it. Let's look. Matt Smith throws it downfield. It's tipped and gets into the hands of the receiver. The defensive back made that play for Wilson.
Well, if you'll remember, Rick, the last time they ran that play, the quarterback was wide open. The coaches obviously saw that and came back to it later in the game. Now Smith to throw. In the flat, it is incomplete. Stopping the clock with 1:57 remaining.
Getting back to the penalties, Ed, we've had 22 penalties for 178 yards combined between the two teams. Nearly 200 yards penalties tonight, and the referees have to be tired just walking off those yards.
Well, it's amazing. That is the sort of thing you would expect to see in a season opener, but not in, this is the 11th game of the year for University and the 10th game for Crawford. And these are both good teams. There's no reason for that many penalties. Smith across the middle, Bucket Gonzalez has it knocked out of his grasp at the 25-yard line. Number 15, Troy Batten, and number 24, Troy Purdy, the men that were right there.
Another point on those penalties. This is the first time the teams have seen 5 officials. The officials might be positioned so that they can see a little bit more than what even they're used to, having only worked with 4 officials throughout the year.
3rd down and 10 for University.
Oh, okay, that's...
Wide open down the middle, Canepas, and he hangs on to the football, but he cannot keep his feet. He would have had a sure touchdown if he could have just strolled about 3 yards farther. But it will be 1st and goal for University at the 3-yard line.
University has had some good plays tonight, and it's certainly fitting that they get on the scoreboard, having reached the CIF playoffs, even though it's not the best record.
We're at the 1.5-minute mark in the ball game. They give it to the big fullback, that is Coleman. Coleman gets down to about the 1. The clock is still running now. University, I believe, is going to stop it. You bet. They want to get on the board and avert the shutout tonight. We've got a timeout on the field with 1:13 remaining in the football game. Crawford is on top 29-0. You're watching high school football on your as a 2nd down and goal from the 1-yard line. We've got 1:13 remaining in the football game. Eric Coleman, James Wilson, and Duke Gonzalez all in the backfield. They give it to Coleman, and he cracks the goal line. University, with 1:11 remaining in the game, finally gets on the board.
Again, the penalties participated in the drive as much as University City did. And it appears they're going to try for 2 points with one of those little misdirection plays. No, they come to the center for the kick.
Duke Gonzalez will be on to do the extra point duties. And it is a fake. They give it to James Wilson looking in the end zone. He floats it in there, and it is incomplete. If he'd put some zing on it, it would have gotten through, but he floated it, and it was batted down by one of the Crawford defenders. So after all the razzmatazz, we end up with an incompletion on the extra point try. Timeout on the field, Crawford leading 29-6. You're watching high school football on your Southwestern Cable connection. They now trail 29-6, and they attempt an onside kick, and they fail with that onside kick. And now with 1:05 remaining in the ball game, Crawford will attempt to run the game out and mercifully end this ball game for the University Dons, ending their season. Fagerang at center. They really do not have to run a play, even though they do. They give it straight off ahead for a couple of yards. All Fagerang has to do is fall on the football if they want to put the exclamation point on this one.
A couple of new backs in the backfield. Number 25, Michael Frazier, and number 40, Anthony Bell. You expect at this point to see several new faces out on the field, some clean jerseys at this point in the game, just to give the guys some playoff experience.
Now here's something I don't understand. University has taken a timeout. Now, obviously there's a never say die attitude, and you don't ever want to give up and so on, but when you are trailing 29-6 with 32 seconds remaining in a football game, there's absolutely no reason to call a timeout when the other team has the football.
I agree completely, unless they wanted to get a couple of more plays in for the guys in the new jerseys.
Well,
as we see at least 3 brand new white jerseys out there for University, and several more than that for Crawford.
Well, the game is coming up on 2.5 hours old now, which may not seem like a long game by professional standards, but for a high school game, it is very long indeed.
The key point there is that the high school game is only 12 minutes per quarter.
And there is the major reason why this game is the length that it is, and that is the penalties.
Mark Hayes, the left tackle, jumps off on that play. And you hate to see a game between 2 good ball clubs that have fought it out all year and have it to go down to being run by the official.
Long count by Fagerang. He goes back and sits down on one knee, and that should be the last play of the game. "15 seconds remaining. They will not need to run another play. The Crawford Colts are going to advance in the CIF playoffs. And there it is, the gun sounding the end of the ball game. The Crawford Colts winning it 29-6. We'll be back with a wrap-up. You're watching high school football on your Southwestern Cable connection. Advance to the semifinals of the CIF playoffs by victory over the University Dons 29-6. Here's how the scoring went.
I got it.
With 8:17 remaining in the first period, Kevin Williams got Crawford on top with really all the points they would need all night. A 3-yard run. He added a 2-yard run for the extra point conversion to make it 8-0. Another score came with 17 seconds remaining in the first half. This time Dwight Brown caught a pass from Fagerang. The extra point was good. Crawford led 15-0 at halftime. In the third period, Williams again a 28-yard run. The kick was good. They led 22-0. And their final score came with 3:17 remaining in the ball game. A 35-yard pass from Fagerang to Kevin Moten. The kick was good, and Crawford led 29-0. University finally got on the board with 1:11 to go in the ball game. A 1-yard run by Coleman. The extra point try failed, and your final score of 29-6. Now a look at the final stats with Rick. Rick?
A couple of quick stats. Total yards, of course, dominated by Crawford, 441 to 179. Fagerang, 12 passes for 20 attempts, 12 complete, 233 yards. Matt Smith, on the other hand, was 7 for 16, a little better percentage, but only 86 yards. Williams was the key to the Crawford attack, being able to get the yardage. 18 carries, 128 yards for Williams. The key thing through the entire ball game, though, was the mistakes made by both teams. The officials threw the flag 22 times for 178 yards, and I think that was the key point in the ball game. Crawford cannot take those flags with them into the next ball game against a legitimate opponent.
Not exactly a game that you'll want to look at on the highlight films later and be proud of. But it is a win in the CIF playoffs, and Crawford will certainly take it. So once again, the final score here tonight, Crawford 29, University 6. We'd like to once again thank our sponsors, the Coca-Cola Bottling Company and Domino's Pizza. And for Thomas McCormick, our spotter up here in the booth, and for Rick Lakin, my color commentary man tonight, this is Ed Larkin saying good night from Patrick Henry High School.